What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops, the podcast. I'm Giulio Gallerati, joined by Francis. Francis, how are you?
Our last
Barstool episode, our last Francis co-host episode. We have Ryan here. Chris could not be with us, unfortunately. He's in Italy, living his best life. He's here in spirit. And what a bittersweet day it is.
Yeah, end of an era.
End of an era.
End of an era.
Beginning of a new one.
That's it.
But dude, it's a bummer. Our time was cut short, like many good things are. And it's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the microphone all these years.
Yeah.
On and off the microphone. Hard to believe it's been as long as it has.
Yeah, it's 2019 summer we started, so about 4 years.
Surreal.
Pretty crazy.
Surreal. I'm trying to think about,
air conditioning just kicked in.
Oh,
dude,
wow.
What a sweet thing that is.
Can I pass you guys a little strawberry rhubarb?
Oh, my God, Ryan, you dirty boy.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We have some pie. Thank you, Ryan. Some comfort food. It's a tough day. I miss you, man. I enjoy doing this with you. It's too bad, You're like,
Whoa.
This is Victoria's doing?
Yeah. I didn't know when a good time to pass that out would be.
This is so funny. All right, dude, it's been a good. No, I want to keep going, but you're going hard, so I'm gonna. So maybe what? Here, eat, and while you're doing it, I'm gonna talk about, reminisce a little bit. We had some really fun, good moments on the pod, man. I'm trying to think if we had any crazy situations. The amount of times we said shit that got us in trouble in our personal lives is pretty impressive. Francis especially, just unbelievable. Situation after situation that would be once in a lifetime traumatizing situation Francis was going through once a week at one point. I mean, it was just fucking crazy. So you've really come a long way from that. You don't really do that as much anymore.
No,
You've learned your lesson a bit. I don't want to jinx you because, I remember the one on your ski trip. That one was hilarious, dude. You remember that? You shit on the town while you guys were still on your ski trip, and then everyone hated you while you were still there. And the group that you were with was like, dude, are you serious?
We couldn't go to a bar.
Yeah. They were denied entry from a bar. Dude, too funny. But yeah, some good stuff. Started in Francis's apartment. Ended up here, the old bar stool. A lot of pandemic episodes. It's been a good time, man. Been a good run as we sit here and eat pie.
Okay, I'm done. So, I have very fond memories. I remember, one really particular day really comes to mind was when we were living in Chelsea, and it was the fall.
I forgot about that apartment.
It was the fall, and we went out to a bar in the afternoon, and then we came back to our apartment, and that was the origin of the lime shards.
Oh, you're right.
Tequila.
What bar did we go to? I remember that hang.
Mm-hmm.
The dog Gustavo was there, if I recall. Right?
Yes, I think he was. The bar was that bar in the West Village that has a couple of TVs, half indoors, half outdoors. My fond memories, I have as many fond memories with you from our time in the podcast recording as I do not recording. And I think part of the reason was it became very clear early on that whatever crazy experiences we would have together would be good for us to then recount on the pod, and that we would enjoy it because we would learn about how each other saw something unfold. Mm-hmm. Which was always a really fun thing. I'm trying to think too. I mean, yeah, all those pandemic episodes we did. We've had some amazing guests. Mm-hmm. Remember when we recorded with Pete Davidson?
Yeah, I do remember that. we were unable to air that one, unfortunately. Which it would be funny if when we're done. My first guest is him. Imagine. Currently wearing his merch.
He made that?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did Raleigh right after he had done it for an entire week, and he left a bunch of his merch there, and so it was there, and like obviously he would let me have it. It's funny because this is I technically did because I didn't actually ask him. I just ripped him out of the box. But yeah, dude, that was fun. That was our only field trip episode. Remember that?
Right.
It's funny too because there was like a bunch of people there.
Yeah, we've done this so long that it's tough to almost pinpoint,
Specific things.
Yeah, but I remember the episode where we smoked the weed was really fun.
That was a fun one.
Ryan, any fun memories?
I think I mentioned it before, but before I started working with you guys, I was bringing my phone into the shower with me. It was just that kind of addiction during COVID. And I saw the clip of you talking to Noah.
Yeah.
And that just got me laughing so hard. And that's what got me to just continue listening.
Yeah.
That's what got me to go back and start over, I think 100 episodes and then catch up.
Wow.
So that was one of my favorite. That was what got me into Oops.
Mm.
And then I think just I can't pinpoint specific.
Ping pong match was pretty awesome.
Ping pong, that was fun.
Yeah.
But me personally, there's just so many random days where we would record and I would just get the giggles, or some topics would hit so close to home and just be so funny. And I think I can speak on behalf of a lot of the listeners. Something very specific that happened to you guys that you bring up on an episode, people listen and they're like, oh my God, that just happened to me.
Yeah.
And it was all the little things and the little tiny details that I love the most that I thought was special. But nothing specific pops.
Yeah, man, just doing it for many years, a lot of fun times, a lot of funny memories, good shit.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what we did. I'm very proud of it. It's the longest professional relationship that I've had with anyone, and that's with you guys, and specifically you, G. It's the longest project that I've ever worked on consistently.
Same.
And yeah, there was no reason to stop ever. We never had a moment that was something we couldn't overcome together. And I think a lot of people, that's typically what happens. And I don't know, in a way, yeah, I'll look back fondly. Oh man, the live shows at City Winery,
Bro Job Bob,
Boston, and New York were so fun. Were those the only two live shows that we did? New York and Boston?
We did 2 in Boston, but yeah.
2 in Boston and 2 in New York. Going to the Celtics game.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just traveling. We got some fun stuff coming up, though.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our Jacksonville gig.
Oh, yeah. We haven't really talked about that at all.
Yeah.
That'll you guys will be seeing sprinkles of that. That show's happening later in the year. That'll be fun. But yeah, dude. So good run, whatever. I like every time I want to be like that about it, but it's hard because it's just feels like we together have a lot to offer the people, and
yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, you never know. Yeah. This is it's what do they say? It's not goodbye, it's good luck. Farewell.
Usually see you later.
See you later. Yeah, see you later. I don't think that this is the end of our professional, tie at all. And I'll be seeing you around the New York comedy scene and, hopefully enjoying some major developments in your life as they come, and maybe who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
To the moon.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, might as well get into business as usual.
Get into business as usual. One last run around the old circuit of nonsense.
I got a good airport tidbit.
Okay.
I was flying out of Atlanta to come back to New York. For whatever reason, TSA pre-check did not pop up on my boarding pass.
Okay.
I call, dude, and the amount of calls I made before I got on the plane it's actually pretty impressive. I called the JetBlue Mosaic hotline twice, and both times they were like, they blamed TSA pre-check for the problem. I reprinted my boarding pass. It just would not pop up. And I'm like, oh, like, have I done something? Like, so I call pre-check. You can call pre-check.
Oh.
I get through to the government or whatever.
Wow.
And they're like, we're going to have a pre-check expert look into this and figure out what was wrong. Dude, the clear line at the Atlanta airport, 35 minutes without pre-check.
Oh, God.
It was like waiting at JFK for a flight. It was crazy. So I'm just sitting there so mad. I had to take my shoes off. Dude, listen to this. Take your computer out of the bag. Computer comes down. I grab it. As I grab it, I see another computer that looks like my computer coming down. A woman grabs it. I go, should we just check? We open it. It's her computer. I have her computer. I have her computer.
Okay.
Oh, if I had pre-check, I wouldn't have to fucking take the computer out.
Oh, I see.
But dude, why am I holding her computer? Like what chaos? And she wasn't even like, oh, thank God. She just went. Like she didn't even acknowledge
that it was good that you said maybe
that
we
I
have
noticed
each other's
that, bro.
computers.
I would have just had this lady's computer. What a joke, dude. It sucked. It fully sucked ass, man. Like just true. And then it turned out that somehow my birthday on my reservation didn't match my official one.
Oh no.
But it's the same. So I'm really worried that I'm going to have issues with this in the future, and it's going to. I really hope that I don't. But that pre-check told me the official reason why was the birth date did not exactly match on my JetBlue boarding pass the way that it did on my thing.
That's so weird.
It was beat, dude.
That's beat.
Beat.
That is no good, amigo.
The clear pre-check combo, if you're flying a dozen times or more a year, you need it.
Yeah.
Not having it is really a handicap.
I can't even imagine at this point going backwards. To me, it's as outdated as, getting in the pay toll with cash line.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Really, really brutal.
As opposed to the easy pass.
Yeah, really tough. I had a funny moment happen during one of my shows. A guy, you ever see a guy in the crowd where you're like, I need to make sure that guy likes me or it's going to be distracting for the entire show?
Yeah.
So I see this guy.
Absolutely.
I see that guy in the crowd.
Okay.
And you never know. And this just goes to show, like, you never know who the good or bad people are going to be at your show. You just see somebody, you're like, that guy looks like he's here randomly. I want to make sure that he's on board with what's happening here. So I start talking to the guy, whatever. It turns out his name's Jim. And he had an accent. He was like, Jim. And I was like, we should trade names, Jim. I was like, I'll be Jim. You be Julio. And like, whatever. It's this funny thing.
Interesting.
No big deal, right? 40 minutes later, dude, in the show, I call him out. I'm like, right, Jim? And he goes, you mean Julio? I was like, Jim, you dog.
You dog.
I did not think you had it in you.
Jimothy.
I did not think you had it in you.
He is Jim.
He was a great guy. Good old Jim. Talked to him after the show, too. And you got to love little stuff like that, dude. And it, just goes to show you can never judge the book by its cover. And as comedians, it's part of what we do is sort of like making fun of people, judging people to a degree.
Yeah.
Like usually it's nothing serious, but when it comes to the audience, you never really know who the best audience members are going to be.
Right. I wanted to tell you about this thing. So, have you followed at all the Baby Gronk saga?
No.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Are you aware, Ryan, about Baby Gronk?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this character on the internet named Baby Gronk. His real name is Madden San Miguel.
He's not related to Gronkowski?
Not at all. He's a 10-year-old boy. And he's a football player, and apparently a very good one. One who is much bigger than all of his classmates, and if you were to believe the internet, he is a standout prospect for the top football programs in the country.
Already?
Alabama, USC, they all have
As
their
a
eye on him. And he's 10 years old. That's the narrative, right? There are all these flashy highlight clips of him making one-handed catches over far smaller kids in these little, flag football leagues, and He's been photographed with celebrities. He's got like 350,000 followers on Instagram. And I had an exchange with this kid, or so I thought. It was his dad. When they reached out to me to see if I might interview him for the United States of Kids. And I said, "Oh, well, this kid's kind of a character and that could work, and okay, sure. I'm coming to Texas. Let's set it up." As we got closer, I got a call from the dad, and I remember him distinctly saying to me, how big can we make this thing? How do we blow this thing up? And I was like, well,
I'll post it.
I don't know. We've been getting some good views, kind of like it's under Barstool, yada yada. And he said, "Oh, well, we've got this football tournament we got to get to in Dallas or something, or Austin. So I'm not sure if we can make it happen." And it almost felt
You were getting big time by
it
Baby
felt
Gronk.
like I hadn't given him the answer that was enough to justify them sticking around for the interview.
Yeah, crazy.
Which, up to that point, the series had just been kids who were happy to come talk to me. So that was a little bit unusual. Fast forward a number of months. I was getting messages from someone else who had interviewed Baby Gronk, and his dad was there, and the dad just kept cutting in and telling the kid what to say, feeding him answers. They would ask the kid a question, and the dad would answer it, and it just was a very weird dynamic. That person told me about that, who ran that podcast, and he said that he had the raw footage of that all happening, which hadn't been seen because all the clips that had been released per Baby Gronk's dad, who runs his social channels and stuff, had been the answers they had wanted the internet and the world to see. So I got that raw footage. I had Ryan cut it up with just the pieces of the dad feeding the kid answers. We posted it on Twitter. It now has 6.1 million views on Twitter.
Wow.
17,000 retweets or something. It's I don't know what it is. Some crazy big tweet. And in conjunction with that, Will Compton from Bussin' with the Boys came out and said that Baby Gronk's dad had been hounding him to have them bring Baby Gronk on their podcast. And all of a sudden, the rumors were really starting to come out that this kid's dad was like being really weird about his kid, trying to make him chase clout and all that. And it made me wonder, are we entering an age where parents are going to push their kids towards clout and social media status in the same way that parents used to push their kids to be really good at tennis or chess?
Is Richard Williams
or like math league experts or whatever? Is that the next frontier for overbearing parenting?
Well, so this kid's good at football too, though, right? Which is interesting. It's interesting that, that personality type is able to sort of be pushy on all fronts. You know what I mean? Push the kid, push the people around.
Right.
And I wonder if it's easier when you're doing it by proxy like that, as opposed to like if it were you. Is it easier to like be annoying when it's your kid? Probably, right?
I guess.
Like hockey parents, that's like such a thing.
Well, I've learned that everyone judges parenting no matter what. We all judge the way that someone parents.
How do you think you're going to be like this when you're a parent? Like, how pushy are you going to be with your kid? And like, or are you going to be I always wonder about that.
I think that all depends on how much my kid figures it out for him or herself.
Well, let's just assume that a kid is incapable of figuring it out comprehensively.
Yeah, they need a lot of direction and a lot of hands-on guidance. Then I'll have no choice. I don't want my kid to fail early on in life and set themselves back and limit their options because, I just said, "Oh, well, I'll let them be. They need to learn on their own." And as a result, they get, D's in school and then find out too late that they need to kick it into gear and get going.
Right.
But, I'll do my best. Look, man.
Let's say they're not bad. Let's say they're doing fine in school, whatever, and they're a promising athlete, but sometimes you're questioning their commitment And how bad do they want it? Are you trying to push them for greatness?
I think I will hope that, by saying, hey, you got to just do whatever it is that you want to do. And if this is not what you want, then take some time off and step away and hope that if they decide they want to come back to it, then great. And if not, it's not for me to mold my child into a person that I want them to be. And I actually think I'm very lucky in that I don't have a whole lot of regrets about my career or the experiences that I've had. So I'm not going to foist those opportunities on my kid as a means of filling a gap in my own life or my own legacy. When I was your age, I had all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
And if only I had focused on my studies or focused on my three-pointer instead of chasing skirts all over town in my Coupe de Ville, I wouldn't be, forging steel now. I'd be in the NFL. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I went a certain way. It worked out for me. Do your best. I hope that is correct. But what do we know? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know what our kids are going to try to do. I think that trouble is the main thing that you have to coach them away from.
Right.
Hey, you shouldn't be huffing window cleaner fumes behind the CVS in town. That's a road to nowhere. Young Fran. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Keep him away from any life-altering mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like,
what happens when your kid comes home high for the first time? How are you going to handle that?
I just don't know. It's hard to, like, I so many other things, like, come into play for how that reaction is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I'm curious to see, like, how I feel when, like when that thing clicks in your brain when you finally have a kid. They say that it changes you, I'm interested about that. What that feels like.
Right.
What that is.
I don't know either.
It's hard to, it's hard to speculate about it without understanding the feeling.
Somebody of mine that is they're having a kid soon made an interesting point to me, and he said that he and his wife had a really hard time conceiving. And so when they finally did get pregnant, and now that they're, only a couple weeks away, because of the challenge of the pregnancy, of becoming pregnant, he's filled with so much more great gratitude and joy than
if it just happened right away.
If it just happened right away, and kind of he was like, well, yeah, this is the way it is, and this is what we were trying, and it happened, and I hope I'm a good dad. There's much more intention, I think, though I hate to say this, the longer you try to get pregnant. In a way, it probably gives, at least it would probably give me more time to come around to being so grateful and thinking, wow, this truly is like the miracle that people say it is,
Totally. By the way, the what's it called conversation reminded me. What is Pop Warner?
It's a football league
for children.
It's like little. It's the
Why is it
little
called
league
that?
of football.
Who's Pop? Who's Warner? Little League has a literary, like a literal meaning.
Uh-huh.
He was a college football
That's a guy.
coach.
Pop. His name Pop Warner.
Yeah.
What team?
It says various. Let me look.
He coached various teams. Okay. Pop
Cornell
Warner.
sticks out.
Oh wow.
1897 to 98.
Okay. Did he start some sort of youth league thereafter?
Give me a few.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, dude, I wonder about bringing kids into the world. I just think of like when my dad grabbed the waitress's arm because he was worried about me. Like, I don't understand that yet. Will I understand it someday? I talked about it in the last episode. So if you missed the last episode, you have to go back to hear about that story. But what is that exactly? Just don't know. It's crazy.
Was she put off by that or no?
Ultimately, no.
Mm-hmm.
But like the gray area was beginning to be used.
Ooh.
You know, to the point where I'm like, okay, let's stop grabbing people.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the olive oil scandal. Have I talked about the olive oil scandal in here at all?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay,
No.
so at one point, my cousin from Italy, who, by the way, I think the last time I saw her, I was like 2 years old. I mean, I don't go see that side of the family very often, or at all. But I'm like friends with them on Facebook, whatever, kind of talk. She messages us being like, hey, like I'm selling olive oil. Do you want to buy some? So I messaged my parents and I'm like, hey, like, you know, so-and-so cousin is asking me about olive oil. Like, do you know about this? And they're like, yeah, she's like starting a business. And I was sort of like, I kind of scoffed at it. And they're like, you know what? Like, they gave me some reaction like I was being a dick. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll buy olive oil.
Uh-huh.
So I sent her $100. My dad does too. She then sends me a message being like, hey, like the funds didn't clear on your end. Like, you need to release the funds to the whatever. And I look at my thing and they're fully released. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't want this fucking olive oil to begin with. I did this because I felt bad. Way to sell a thing that I can buy down the street just as good as whatever you're fucking pulling out of your backyard or whatever, which I don't think, you know, I don't think it's that kind of farm to table operation anyway. Just some olive oil business. Italy is down the street from me. Sorry to break it to you. So I'm like, all right, this is officially not worth it. I'm not going to respond anymore. I stopped responding. My dad just can't let it go. He calls me. He's like, hey, did she? I'm like, yes. And I was like, Dad, something's like off with this. Like, I'm done. I don't care if I get the olive oil or not. I didn't want the olive oil. I never wanted the olive oil. And he's like, well, you know, he sends her money again. Same thing. She messages him, hey, it's not clearing, da-da-da. My dad just will not stop calling me about it. And at one point, I'm like, dude, this is the last time I'm talking about this. And then you can never talk to me about it again. I told you to begin with that something's weird about this. We are not talking about this anymore. So get it out. Gets it out. Whatever. She continues messaging me. I have messages that I haven't looked at from her. I'm like, and my dad, like a couple of days ago, calls me again. He's like, you know what? I've decided, you know, I sent the money twice. You know, these people, they don't have a lot of work opportunities. It's probably her employer who's scamming her because or maybe she's doing, I'm like, Dad, who gives a shit, dude? He will not let it go. He just will not let it go. And he's like, I'm sorry I roped you into this. He then Venmos me for the money that I spent on the olive oil. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that. Which is part of the reason why I paid for the Father's Day dinner anyway. I'm like, I've already got this $120 sitting here that you gave me that was written off. So he believes that she is victim of a scam. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but how dumb is she if she's falling for the olive oil scam? My dad's like, you know, it's a brilliant scam. Is it? Is it a brilliant scam? I don't know, dude. Olive oil is a very random item that not everybody cooks with. Not everybody are fucking geeps like us, dude, who use olive oil and everything. You know what I mean? It's like a novelty item that you can buy anywhere.
It's true. It's true. I have no idea how crowded the olive oil space is.
I suspect it's quite crowded.
It's probably pretty crowded. But boy, oh boy, a good olive oil. Ooh.
That's great. Agreed.
That's a treat.
But guess what? We ain't never getting ours.
No, you're not.
Dude, let's see this message. I bet I still have it from her. This is so crazy. Like, is she serious, bro? Did somebody hack her account? They claim that they spoke to her in person at some point about this. They claim that they spoke. I might have just blocked her.
I was while you're looking for that, I had this idea. I was thinking about To Catch a Predator. Do you have it?
Yeah, it's loading.
I was thinking about To Catch a Predator and how we never really saw the world from the predator's perspective. We never saw, their side. And I don't necessarily think they deserve a side. These are monsters, bad people. But I had this thought that after that whole situation with the baby Gronk and baby Gronk's dad, I thought about, is there ever a world where I could pose as a predator and be the bait as a predator that they would use kids as to be the bait for the predators on that show.
Oh yeah.
And I would pose as a predator to reveal that there are parents who are so fucking crazy about their kids that they would be willing to put them in a bad situation with a potential predator for the sake of clout.
Right. You got to, to meet the casting director, you got to.
Yeah. You need to take your kid's shirt off. You need to do this, that.
Yeah, no, agreed. That's a really weird gig.
I was thinking of like doing an entrapment scheme.
A kid opens the door for them.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the idea I had to flip it would be if I get the parents and the kids in the room, I tell the kids to leave, and then it's me talking to the parent for a second, and I say, oh, we'll finish our casting thing in a second. I'm just going to dip out into the back to wash my hands. And then the parent is waiting, and out comes a child who is the Chris Hansen of our show.
Who's like, okay, yeah.
Who's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you.
And it's like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And they're like, I hear that you like to use children to to find your, to get clout on the internet.
Oh, let me guess, it's for their college fund?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you brought what do you have in your backpack? Oh, you have a sheet that is an application for a blue check mark? Oh. Or,
you can buy those now.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
That's kind of
$10,000 in cash.
That's a fun concept, dude.
I don't know. We'll see.
But you're right. It's like, how is that a thing?
But the problem
Someone
is
being cast as that part.
if I try to lay the trap posing as a predator, I could end up in real trouble. I think being the bait as a predator and putting out any feelers to any kind of a parent where they then might alert the FBI, and then I would have to say, oh no, it was all for a bit to try to make those parents look ridiculous.
You can be a fake casting director instead of the show, which actually makes it work better.
And not myself.
No, you're just like, hey, I'm casting a show where we're kids, are marks for these sexual predators.
Right.
Your kid will only be in harm's way for 30 seconds, but don't worry, we have snipers waiting up in case he tries to touch your kid or whatever.
I see. That's good.
Send some face pics and some shirtless pics of your kid, so we make sure that they're they're fit enough.
It's the triple cross that we're doing here. The triple.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Triple axle.
That does provide a little bit of safety from the FBI, I think.
No, but it's okay. Yeah, there's no harm, no foul there. I think you're good.
I've been thinking about this because I think I've told you this. There was a gubernatorial candidate in Maine.
What?
A candidate for governor.
Goober?
Gubernatorial
That's
is the race
gubernatorial.
for governor.
Wow.
And his name was Elliot Cutler. And he was the independent candidate in Maine and had run against Paul LePage. I don't know how many years ago. This must have been 2000.
Fucking Paul LePage.
Well, Paul LePage, was the first time he ran against him because he ran against him twice.
He ran twice, 10 and 14.
2010 was the first time he ran against him. Paul LePage was the Tea Party Republican candidate in Maine. And Maine's a weird state. Politically, we have two liberal Democrat congresspeople.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have an independent and a Republican senator. And then we had a very, very right-wing Tea Party governor.
Interesting.
And so it's just all over the map with our very few
constituents,
political representatives that we had. And this guy ran in 2010. He almost beat him.
Beat LePage?
He almost beat LePage, but LePage won. He ran against him 4 years later. I think he did not come as close the second time, or maybe he became closer. But in the last year, out of nowhere, this guy was very successful, big name in Maine, almost won the governor's seat. The FBI discovered lots and lots of child pornography on his
On LePage?
computer. No,
Okay.
Elliot Cutler. And they raided his house, and he's in prison.
Jesus.
And he's got, a wife and kids who were successful in their own right. I can't think of a worse situation than finding out that my dad is being taken by the FBI in handcuffs because he has tons of child pornography on his computer.
Yeah. Jesus.
How do you square that?
I don't know, man.
What do you do?
Don't know. I don't know.
That's tough.
It's tough.
My middle school vice principal got caught with child pornography, and he was the most revered guy in our town. Everyone loved him, and it was such a plot twist. He was a veteran. Patrick Lott was his name, and it was such shocking news. He set up cameras inside the high school locker room.
Oh, no.
And recorded the basketball players while they were showering, and they found footage in his closet. And yeah, it was a big deal.
Jesus.
Beat.
Did someone find the cameras? Is that how he got in trouble?
Yeah, I think someone found the cameras, and then they raided his house, and his closet was filled with incriminating
Oh, man.
CP.
That's really bad, dude.
Jesus. It's
It's
crazy.
the people you least expect.
That's crazy.
Ugh. I don't know why I tend to bring us towards that stuff a
You
lot.
like the child pornography topic.
I just think it's the most. I think it's the most twisted thing, and to borrow from Louis' like comedic line of reasoning, the fact that it still happens in spite of how much your life is finished, if it is found out that you are operating in that stuff, must mean that it truly is, a sickness that these people are just, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. Because, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to be doing. Crazy thing to be doing, bro.
I don't have a whole lot more on that. I'm not trying to excuse that at all. That's not what I'm saying. I just, fuck.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I don't know. Well, fuck. Dude, I have one more thing, I guess, before we wrap it, before we bring it home here.
Yeah.
It's kind of random, but
Yeah, hit me.
I went uptown to where I used to live, and there's this like homeless guy who sort of like terrorizes the neighborhood. If you see him, he gets in your face and he gets you to like agree to something to just get rid of him, and then he will bother you till the end of time until you get it until and it's one of those things where like he can't do anything to you.
No.
But for some reason you still don't want to see him. So at some point I started walking a different route to avoid him. But I remember one of the people who I lived with, he called him Curly. The homeless guy called this guy Curly. And he'd see me and he'd go, "Hey man," he goes, "if you see Curly, tell him I said, fuck you, man." I'm like, dude, this guy is such a piece of shit. But I think he's still up there running around. I saw him the other day when I was up there. I'm like, dude, I cannot believe they can't get this guy out of the neighborhood. Everybody pays him off to leave him alone. Give him $20 every couple months, and they won't talk to you. You know what I mean? It's just like he's running like a full extortion operation up there.
Wow, good for him.
A man living on the street.
Good for Curly.
All
You got
right.
any emails?
Should we do an email real
Let's
quick?
do an email. The last
Before we take it
email.
home? We'll let Francis chime in here one final time. Here we go. This is called Writing This from a Happy Hour, Alcohol Advice Emergency. I think we replied when this was happening, since this had some urgency to it, but still worth revisiting. So need some advice. Just found out I'm a volunteer drinker for police sobriety test training locally. It helps new officers learn how to administer the test for drunk drivers. You get to pick your alcohol, and they provide it within reason. It's May 24th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The question is, what do I drink if I'm drinking all day long?
Wow.
I'm a Penn State alum. Shout out to Francis's wife. And she said, so I'm not a rookie, but usually switch it up. I can only do one drink all day. What would you pick? A couple of important pieces of info. I will not drink light beer. I'm an IPA girl. 2, will they provide mixers? Maybe a Hang-Obi and a giant ice cube. 3, I'm considering a Moscow Mule or a margarita. 4, no whiskey or straight liquor.
You can't. Let's eliminate some. You're not going to drink IPAs all day. It's too heavy. You feel awful. You just can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to drink a Moscow Mule all day
way too
because it's
sugary.
way too much soda and sugar. Margaritas, you could do a bunch of, but I do think you'd be a lot better off with a tequila soda with some lime juice. You're getting your soda water, you're getting water. It's a clear liquid, it's consistent. I would either do something like that or maybe like high noons, you know?
What about wine?
Yeah, maybe
Too much
white
wine?
wine.
Because, I mean, with wine, you can go slow with it, too. Like, drinking more of it will do less to you than, like, tequila soda you can go through pretty quick if you're drinking them all day. I agree with you. Like, that's a safe bet. But something that you can, like, sip on. You know what I mean? If you don't want to overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not understanding. So the point of this is that they try to get you wasted so that the practicing cops can tell. Have you heard of this before?
No. I didn't know about it. I guess it's they get you wasted and then they let you get out of the car and they perform the sobriety test. Yeah, exactly as you said.
So yeah,
that's kind of cool.
So how is she a cop? Also, like, why are you? I'm just wondering.
I think she probably just signed up for one of these surveys. There's probably some kind of a stipend.
Okay.
And I always remember they used to have kind of things like sleep testing. Sometimes it would be we're gonna keep you awake for 24 hours and then run tests on you. Or whatever, and you'd get they would offer a lot of money for it, and I thought about signing it up for it sometimes.
I know, I forget who did this. I think Josh Wesson maybe did this, where he did something where they like blindfold you for like 3 days or something, and then then when you take the blindfold off, they like do experiments on you, and apparently he said, I think, that when he took the blindfold off, he could just fully see in the dark, which is crazy. Like in a darkness where like he would have not been able to see a single thing previously.
Wow.
Which I thought was pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
I guess technically you are dark adapting your eyes at that point.
Right. Dude,
yeah.
Crazy. Well, dude, I guess that's it. Oops,
that's it, pal. Oops the pod.
Good run, Francis.
Appreciate you, G.
It's been a nice time,
Appreciate you, Ryan.
Chris, we love you.
Chris, we love you. Thanks to the audience.
Not eating too much pasta.
Thank you. Thanks all the fans and everybody for having me and putting up with my bullshit, and you guys will definitely enjoy Julio's carrying on, voice of reason, voice of intellect.
Yeah, and guys, listen, I mean, this is, the most important thing for me right now, I think, as far as just like keeping my life going and rocking and rolling. So, would really be appreciated if you ride with me. I'd love to hear what you guys think. If there's things that you want to hear, people you want to see, whatever, we're definitely open to suggestions and listening and trying to make something that you guys like listening to. But, we'll stay ever committed to bringing you good programming every week. And I thank you in advance. Facts with Ryan.
Facts with Ryan.
Just that the podcast has gone 201 consecutive weeks, and there's no plan on that stopping anytime soon.
Wow.
That's a good one, Ryan. Thank you.
Well, that's coming right up on 4 years. I thought it was 4 years, but I guess it's
August,
4 years. Amazing. G, you got any live comedy coming up?
Yeah. Vulcan Gas Company, Austin, Texas, 2 shows, July 14th. I'm going to have a New York date in August as well, probably at the Stand Comedy Club. And a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe in the fall, notjulio.com. What about you, Francis?
Cool. I'll have, let's see, I've got Phoenix, Arizona in September, then Boston, Toronto, Providence, and Washington, D.C., Arlington Draft House. All of that coming up in the fall. Tickets are available at francisellis.com. I can't wait to meet you all. Thanks, everybody. It's been a great ride. I love you all. Love you boys. And good luck.
Thank you. You too, man.
Appreciate it.